Good news, everyone! My casting license has been reinstated, so I am no longer committing a felony by being here. I'm going to be bringing you a Demacian Division match with my co-casters. Today we are going to be having a game between Broken R Button and Anarchy Purple. So because the Demacian Division is smaller, they are doing a double round robin tournament, which means that these teams have already played. They played in the first week, and Anarchy Purple took it 2-0. I actually cast that game, so I'm excited to see how the two teams have grown. Anarchy Purple has gone from strength to strength. They're currently in first place within the division at 9-1, though I believe Sentinels could also be 9-1. Their latest match has not yet been updated. So Anarchy Purple looking to continue their winning streak. They have Shadow Claws in top, respective Bigfoot in jungle, Creek in mid, Uwu, Nico, Nya in ADC, and Germ-Proof in support. And on the side of Broken Arbun, we have Mr. Fishai in top, Finzel in jungle, DeChells in mid, Ocean's Andrew in ADC, and Extra Ho in support. So it looks like Broken R Button are on blue side for game 1, with Anarchy Purple on red side, and then we'll swap for game 2.
Yeah, hopefully it's an interesting series. Demacian Division is kind of in an awkward spot as being where it's at with just 4 teams. But at the moment it does seem like 2 of the teams that, as far as I know, the 2 teams that are kind of on top are the teams that have been together the longest of those 4 teams. And so I think the experience playing together is showing a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think Broken R Button was around last season as well, but one of those teams formed by our league, kind of, so groups of players who are just still getting to know each other and getting to know each other's play style.
So one thing that I am interested to see is, I actually misspoke, so it looks like there was an ADC sub for this game on the side of Anarchy Purple. They have Shuriman subbing in for Uwu, Nico, and Yan. Given that Nico has been a pretty star player for Anarchy Purple, I'm interested to see can Shuriman bring the same level of impact, and how well does the team sort of coalesce and make decisions in fights without one of their star players.
Yeah, and it really does mix up a fair bit with your AD carry, because with either of your bot laners, it messes with your synergy, but it also messes with how you end up playing around that person. Because if you have an aggressive AD carry sub in for a passive AD carry, then your whole team fight dynamic changes so much, and a lot of the assumptions that you make about how you're going to end up playing out those team fights are going to be wrong if Tristana jumps in instead of jumping away.
I'm interested to see how this goes, because one thing I do like about the Demacian Division that I kind of wish other divisions had is, because it's a double round robin, you play each team obviously twice. But the thing is that in a division like Ionia, because you see each team only once, for example, your first week match or your second week, you may not have seen much of what that team has to offer. And so you can kind of get a sense of, you're like, well, I didn't know that they could do this, or I didn't know this was the style they could pull out. And whether or not you succeed or not, you then won't see them again until potentially playoff. But because it's a double round robin, every team gets a learning opportunity to have their first match against a team, see if they win or not, and then play again and try to integrate what they learned from their first match. And they can go, look, we played these guys in week 2, this is what they did, here's how we want to prepare to counter it. But with that, let's look to get into game. So on the side of Broken R Buttons, they have Wukong, Jarvan, Ari, Ashe, and Nami. And on the side of Anarchy Purple, they have Sept, Kayn, Syndra, Tristana, and Morgana. Kasagi! So looking at runes and masteries, things look pretty standard. It is going to be the Glacial Ari, which is pretty common. She sacrifices damage with the Glacial build, but it adds a lot of reliability, so many people do favor that build. Looks like pretty standard. It is going to be a more defensive Guardian on Morgana as opposed to Summon Aerie or Arcane Comet. Electrocute on the Syndra. We do see a cleanse on Creek's Syndra, and a cleanse on Ocean's Andrew's Ash. Which I think makes sense there because cleanse is very good against like singular point CCs. So the Ari Charm, the Morgana route, where there's like one big CC that someone relies upon to set up their combo, like the Twisted Fate Gold card. Cleanse excels against that. Cleanse is bad against mass disruption like knockups or chain CC where you can't cleanse at all.
Ooh, Set walks a little close there, but actually, with his haymakers, trades back a little bit better than Wukong, I think, expected.
Yeah, he does hit the. It's actually the Facebreaker pull, but I think part of the Orb of Deception may have been off the mark, or perhaps Ari just elected not to use it. And notably, Mr. Fisheye has burned one of his 3 potions. He did start Longsword, and not Doran's Blade or Doran's Shield, so he'll have less health, but he has more potions to use, and he has elected to use one up here.
Yeah, he's gonna have to worry about walking up to the lane though. Wukong is interesting. He has a decent matchup in the set, but he has to play it carefully because if Set lands on his ability, then Set is going to win that fight. An early gank by Jarvan, but he's not quite able to land the EQ. Morgana did not yet have her Black Shield to block that knockup.
I like that decision making from Finzel though, because he recognizes that Kayn is a relatively weak early jungler who mostly looks to farm, and as Jarvan, he has the advantage that he can level 2 gank, which a lot of junglers can't. A lot of junglers need level 3 to really gank because you tend to take more clearing oriented abilities first and then take your sort of initiation CC move later. But they are invading on the blue buff.
Yeah, and I think this is the consequence of that early gank on the bot lane, is that the Kayn is able to predict pretty easily where Jarvan wants to go, and Set and Kayn together work together to get there. Wukong gets caught coming down the river, but is able to get out of there with just his W, whereas Set has to flash away from the Ahri after the Ignite goes down. And
yeah, and notably,
flashed out.
Yeah, they don't secure the blue buff. Jarvan is able to get his blue buff, so he will not be denied that camp. Though he only has taken red buff. This will be his 2nd camp, whereas Kayn is already doing Krugs for his 3rd. But Mr. Fisheye does very well with using the Warrior Trickster to buy time until his mid and jungle can rotate up to him, and they do force those summoners out of respective Bigfoot and Shadow Claws.
And Jarvan, with that sequence of events, is able to get the Scuttle Crab on the top side as well, which is a big buff, and it looks like he might look mid lane here while Kayn is busy doing his red buff.
Yeah, and he, because of the large amount of healing you get from Scuttle Crab, he's now full health, full mana, able to look to fight again. He may be pathing back up the top, but it looks like he's just going to go back and clear his own.
Yeah, if I were him, I would get started on getting my camp sequenced. If you don't make a run straight for the bottom crab at this point, then you might as well just take your Gromp and your Wolves and then work your way down there to see if it's still up. A big trade there from Wukong onto Set, and this really shows one of the benefits of this matchup. If you can use your W well to get out of the damage from Set's W, or avoid being pulled, then you get the double Q sometimes. That sort of thing really makes a difference. As the longer Wukong can stay in combat, the tankier he gets.
And the more health regen he gets.
Yep, and it's going to make it really difficult for Set to take care of him if he does not catch him with an early ability.
I'm a little surprised that Jarvan didn't go to bot scuttle, because the rush from double scuttling someone is phenomenal. It's like things that give people a feeling of power. Double scuttling the opposing jungler is way at the top of the list. And Kayn is so bad at...
Yeah, Kayn is one of the worst at taking the scuttle, and even Kayn, it looks like he's assuming that the scuttle is already gone. He's backing after Gromp without even checking it. And Jarvan's going to his Raptors, and if he goes Raptors Krugs, that'll be rather tragic, because that that Scuttle has been there for a long time.
Yeah, so it's only a level 1 Scuttle, so I'd like to see Jarvan just swing in and check. It looks like he might be going for Krugs or to check Dragon, actually. Not that Kane is... Oh, he's going to plant sweep for it? He sees that it's up. Oh, but Finzel, he's not going for it.
I guess he wants to get his Raptors cycled, but that Scuttle Crab and the vision it offers is actually really helpful.
And that's a level 1 Raptors. He didn't do his Raptors on his first clear, so he's actually would have gotten more golden if he had the Scuttle. But Kane's looking to potentially trade the Scuttles here.
Yeah, Kane has to be careful. It's good for him to like get some poke damage off. It builds up his stacks, but he doesn't want to fight this because Nami's on the way and his back lane, his bot lane just backed.
Yeah, though Creek does have the mana advantage, so he'll have more pressure here, but Jarvan is able to claim the Scuttle. I think Respected Bigfoot is like, I don't really want to fight that. Jarvan's stronger earlier than I am. Kane is, he's like 75% of a champion before he gets formed, so...
He's going for a gank on bot lane, kind of half-hearted, although his bot lane is wrapping around.
It looked like a gank for form, where he just wanted points.
Yeah, I think so. And it was worth a couple points. It's not a terrible idea on Kane just to get a little bit of damage here and there as best you can.
Do you think he would go Shadow Assassin here or Rost? I think there's a pretty good case to be made for Shadow Assassin because the mid to bot side is all squishy, and Wukong is kind of a bruiser, but can build more damage oriented. It might depend on what Mr. Fishai chooses to build, but...
Typically in team compositions, I say Rost is like almost always the better choice, but I think you're right in this case that he's going to have more impact if he goes with Wukong. First blood picked up there by Morgana on the Jarvan as he tries to sneak in there and get the steal, and top lane is brawling, and it is Mr. Fishy on the Wukong who's able to come up with the kill.
Yeah, he has very good use of the double cyclone. One of the changes made to Wukong with his rework is that the ult does deal percentage max HP, so against a high health Juggernaut like Set is pretty effective. And I don't know if Set's Haymaker must have been on cooldown, but Mr. Fishai is able to just auto attack him down in a relatively close fight. A lot of that due to the bonus armor and regen comes don't skip passive.
Charm lands there in mid lane, and Syndra feels about half of that health bar disappear. And that's just the Ahri matchup.
Yeah, that 20% damage jam can do a lot. Ahri did go for the Lost Chapter first, so mana, 10% CDR. It's huge as a mage to have the Lost Chapter advantage. Though Syndra does have blue buff, so that's going to help her out with keeping even in mana in the lane.
Good job by Wukong there, baiting Set's W out onto his clone. I think he took a little bit of the tip of that W, but not the full brunt of it.
Certainly not the true damage section. And he does have Ninja Tabby as well, so...
Oh, is he going to be able to pick this kill? No, he's not quite enough. Oh, the cleanse from Syndra is enough for her to get the kill with her ultimate.
Kane's coming top lane. Shadow Claws is really low. Respected Bigfoot is not yet 6.
Oh, yeah, it's a level 8 versus level 6. That's flashes out of both of them. Jarvan is here as well. Oh, I think he could have gone for the EQ there on...
yeah, he might have needed to EQ Flash, but you just saw Set use Haymaker, and Haymaker is still on a relatively long cooldown. He did have ult, but I think you probably could have bursted him within the EQ auto combo.
Yeah, and if not, then Wukong's E is a fairly short cooldown. It was probably something where he could have run in range and got an auto or two off with his E in concert with his E to finish off the kill. Risky, because at that point he would have been under turret, I think. But
you gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Exactly. And it is going to be an early Rift Heralds. I like this from Finzel, focusing on these objectives. I guess I missed it when they got the dragon on on the side of Anarchy Purple.
Yeah, they did that a little earlier. They just had the 4-man advantage. Jarvan did actually die there, so it's 2-1 in favor of Anarchy Purple. They have about a 2k gold lead, most of it which looks like it is from farm. There's a 20 CS lead in bot. Shuriman is certainly showing that he's up to snuff in this lane. There's also a pretty significant CS lead in mid, helped by the fact that the Syndra does have a kill, the Ahri does not. So the carry lanes do have gold advantages. About 800 for the Syndra and about 500 for the Tristana over the Ashe.
And there you saw the Syndra is the bane of junglers, as whenever they have something they really want, she just takes it away.
Yeah, and that's kind of almost as much for BM as it is for the farm. It's like, nah, you don't get this.
Yep. Wow, and if you look at the bot side of the map right now, you can really see that there's a significant vision advantage for Anarchy Purple here. And they're abusing that by getting Syndra down there. Her ultimate nearly taking out Nami. She's wrapping around the back. She definitely wants to try to finish this off. And just an E, I think, would do it. But Ashe is doing her best to keep him out. Nami's getting herself healed back up and should be able to survive this now, I think. They've poked off Syndra a little bit, and with the Rift Herald in mid lane, that makes it a little less desirable. Set engages, and Ahri is trying to save Jarvan, but it is not enough. Set and Kayn together are enough to take him out. Ahri looking to get a exchange kill, but Syndra is back, and here comes Set once again, laying down the fists, and Syndra is able to pick up that kill. Just in time for Dragon to spawn as well, and bot lane has the push already, so they're going to try to set up vision here, I think.
Kane's pretty low on mana here, so he's going to need some help to do it, but the regen from Stalker's Blade should be enough to keep him going. Jarvan's walking down to bot lane, but I don't think he's going to be into Dragon in time to contest. Yeah, this is Creek Syndra is quite fearsome now. 2-0. Let me check. Should have, yes, has just enough gold to finish the Lost Chapter, so should be looking to back for that quite soon. They did get a decent amount of plating gold with the Rift Herald there, so it's not a terrible exchange in the favor of Brook and Arbun. The gold lead is about where it is, but losing that dragon is really what hurts there.
Yeah, and ooh. Jarvan steps up. I think he really wanted to get them all together maybe before he's able to, something going. But in the end, it was 2 versus 3. Wukong's going to come and try to finish some kills up, though. And that is nearly enough. Tristana just squeaks away.
The health potion did it there, and the heal.
I think.
Yeah, so that I think what you see there is the issue I have with Warrior Jarvan. Is that Warrior just leaves you so squishy if you're not naturally tanky, and Jarvan isn't. And so he just evaporates. It's like once he goes in and doesn't hit the EQ, his ult was still on cooldown, so he doesn't have any more follow-up, and he gets hit by the Cinder Stun, the Morgana Root, and he just evaporates there. Creek is trying to do the blue buff, but it's taking him a bit of time because he's out of mana himself. But he will back here. Does have enough for both for Luden's Echo and what I would assume is Sorcerer's Shoes. Yep, there we go.
And Kayn has transformed. He did go with the Rost red form, which is expected when you go to Conqueror. I can't say it's like an unexpected choice at all, but I do think that like if you want to snowball this game and really like push your lead, Blue Kayn would be the way to go.
Yeah, Rost is very foolproof.
Yeah, he doesn't have threat, but he also doesn't die much.
And I'm looking at the top lane, so it's a very small CS, but the tower health is in favor of Broken R button. Shadowclaw's tower is very low, and notably he's going for
turret. Oh, it's a pity. He dies for it, but he does get the flash out.
Shadowclaw is going for the Death Dance first, which I'm not a huge fan of on set. It doesn't really give you a lot of tankiness. It gives you resist and the healing, But if you want healing, the attack speed and percent damage from Blade of the Ruined King is just as good. If you want cooldown reduction, then you can build into Black Cleaver. And if you just want squishy killing power, given that the entire team right now is squishy on Broken Arrow Button, you can go Tiamat and Trinity Force. So I don't know if Death Dance is really the right play here. It gives him a lot of sustain, but I think that he's still pretty vulnerable to dying to Mr. Fishai because he doesn't have much tankiness. Jarvan's up here.
Yeah, and the Wukong ultimate is there. Good knock up there by the Jarvan, and the second tick of that thing is there, but oh, Seth is just so tanky with his W going. And he will be able to get out, flashes away, and has enough speed to just run out of there. The bot lane is trading, and that is Ashe is not going to come out on top of that one. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, Creek just rolls in and claims that kill. He's like, yeah, this is mine by right. I'm the mid laner.
Yep. That was really close though. Here, both Support and Ocean's Andrew and Extra Hill very close to winning those duels, but just that since once the Nami fell, Tristana was able to get in there and finish off. But Ari here looking to pick up a double kill if she can. I think she's got it with the ignite there, and she's going to be able to pick up the Morgana as well.
That's really important.
No assist for the Jarvan, should have dropped his flag.
Yeah, but Jachel's getting those goals is really important because he's was 0-4. He really needs the money, and one of those was a 750 gold shutdown.
Yeah,
there are two towers going in the favor of Anarchy Purple, so they've now widened this to an almost 7k gold lead.
Ooh, Fitzel looking for something here, but I don't know if he's got it. He only has the Nami backup for now, but here comes Wukong and Ari. They're just not quite able to get in there. Looks like Nami might fall here, but no, the Asher comes in and saves the support. They're able to pick up 2 kills there with a nice collapse on the mid lane.
Yeah, big down in the Syndra. The Jarvan was a little unfortunate in that it actually locks Mr. Fishai and Jachel's out. Jachel's is forced to flash into the Cataclysm in order to get the charm. But they did claim an 850 gold shutdown. They now have an advantage around Dragon. So I think they need Mr. Fishai here in this fight, though. Extra is very low here.
Oh, and Nami is burst down, but Tristana does not get out after that semi-assassination there. Good. Zonya's there, Set takes out the Ashe. Morgana's just gonna fall. Jarvan does not survive. Set is just putting the pounding on, but Wukong is there. And I don't think he's gonna be able to get it, but no, the Ari is able to hit the charm and clean it up, but that is not enough to get the Wukong away from the Syndra. So that looks like it's gonna be Mountain Dragon to Anarchy Purple, and that is the 3rd dragon unless
yeah, that puts them on soul points, so that's very threatening because a Kayn, a Rost with a Mountain Soul is not going to die very easily, and it's just that late game objective on their part. Creek is absolutely dominating on this Syndra. 6-1, 30 CS lead over the Ari. He's just doing all the things that a mage carry needs to do.
And this is a potential 24-minute soul. I mean, this is about as fast as you can do it.
Yeah, you can't get Dragon Soul much faster, not given the time it takes you to take drag, rotate people in, not unless you're like literally waiting at every drag for it to spawn.
You can see though, once again, that the focus as the fight breaks out, Jarvan catches Kayn and doesn't just deactivate his ultimate once again. So he's kind of sitting in there by himself for a little while. Oh, Nami Bubble does land on Kayn. That should be enough to finish him off. Yes, Ari does get up the kill, but Syndra is here, and she's going to finish off the Ari if they're not careful, and the Nami as well. Nami is hoping to finish off the Morgana, but is not able to do it.
Yeah, they don't get quite enough damage onto Germ Proof, and he barely squeaks out of there, but it is a 4-for-1. And I feel like you can see they almost take out the Tristana, but there's just not enough damage, even with some of the damage-oriented builds that they've gone on the side of Broken Arrow Buttons to actually confirm a kill. Like, Ross easily just dashes out of the Jarvan ult. They don't have the damage to finish off the Tristana. They don't have the damage to finish off the Morgana.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is just that is the gold difference showing. It's slightly more tanky stats or slightly more damage on the side of Anarchy Purple. Just makes it so that they can stay in the fight a little bit longer, do a little more damage. As actually they're getting caught out here, they wanted to clear that ward, but it looks like they're almost, no, they're not going to pay for it. Morgana gets away and Syndra gets away as well, and it ends up being Ahri that falls. Really looked like a bad situation there. It looked like they had overstayed themselves a little bit as they came back into the fight there, but just did not quite work out. Jarvan in a little bit of an awkward spot, but he is able to slow set and get away.
Yeah, I don't know what Broken Armor needs to do. They certainly, I think they need Wukong on Mr. Fishai and Wukong onto these squishy carries, because the disruption that the Cyclone brings, I think, is going to be key to picking off the Syndra or the Tristana. And if he uses Warrior Trickster well, he could bait out a lot of their damage. I also think that they need to tank up, and to be honest, what I would look at for Game 2 is they need more tankiness. Wukong has gone to the Ravenous Hydra, Jarvan has gone Warrior. The characters that are supposed to be their frontliners are not frontliners at this point.
Well, and we're working on Set now at the moment, so we'll get back to that in a moment. It looks like Set is the distraction, though, as the rest of them are going for the Baron. He does go down, but it's 4 people committed. Well, really 5 people committed to the fight. So we'll see if they can have the damage to take out this Baron.
I feel like Shadow Claws this game is mostly just a disruption and distraction machine. Like, his job is just to be there and cause some chaos, get attention.
Oh, nice. Good flash and dive in there by the Wukong. He's really making them work for this one. But good play there to disrupt the Baron take. And it looks like they're going to actually be able to take the Baron. It's a nice charm lands in the fog of war over the wall, and they're able to clean up the Tristana as well. So that's an ace and the Baron.
That is huge. They are back in this game. They're still down a little on gold, about 4K, just a little bit under. But what happens is Set's dead. But because Shuriman is slow getting to the Baron, there's no DPS. Kayn is not, a massive DPS machine on Baron. They have the Syndra, they have the Morgana, but they're not taking it very quickly. And then they roll in, Mr. Fishai flashes in, goes invisible, jumps onto the Kayn, hits him with Cyclone and kills him. And then the Jarvan ult, the Nami wave, all of that scatters Anarchy Purple so much that they're able to pick them off one by one. And that leaves only Shuriman and Germproof. Shuriman makes a valiant effort to try to steal the Baron, but he doesn't get it and they give over a lot of bounties there. Now Anarchy Purple are posturing around the dragon. They do have the superior position, they have vision control, and they still have a gold lead. So Finzel's going to have to face check this, and he is not very tanky. He's only at about half health. And if they don't get in on this dragon, they're going to lose Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I think this is a no-choice kind of situation. They've got everybody here.
Mr. Fishai needs to go in right now.
Nami ult. But there goes the Set ult. Set ulting out of the fight. Oh, Wukong is already down, though. Good. Get it. Nami gets in there into the backline. Morgana goes down as well. It is 4 for 1. Again, no, it's 5 for 1. They were just not able to finish off any kills once again. That is Mountain Soul to Anarchy Purple.
Yeah, I'm not sure who Shadow Claws grabbed, but he grabbed someone and he ulted into the back of Broken R button. And by that point, and they're so busy dealing with him that they can't back up the Wukong. Wukong W's in with Warrior Trickster, but the closest person to him is Morgana Black Shielded. So he just ults because he's like, well, I'm in range, I need to do it. But he doesn't hit the Syndra, Kayn is Black Shielded. He doesn't hit the Syndra, he doesn't hit the Triss, so all the damage from Anarchy Purple is still in position to do their damage, and they're able to just clean up the fight and get the dragon. And this Wukong has gone Duskblade, which I don't agree with. Wukong is not really a lethality champion anymore. He's very much a bruiser champion. Triforce, Cleaver, Bork, Titanic Hydra. He needs more. He wants more sustained damage and not the raw burst that he used to have.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where if you are going to go with that burst build, then you have to commit to it fully, and it just works better out of the jungle than it works out of the top lane.
Yeah.
And even then, like in the jungle, I don't play Assassin Wukong anymore. It's just not.
Mr. Fisha pulls the dupe on him.
Yeah, Creek manages to save himself with that cleanse there in that little exchange. So it is something where they definitely have, on the side of a Broken Arbor, they have the opportunity to make some picks, and if they can make a pick and get some of these fights started in a decently advantageous spot, you know, numbers advantage, then they can start coming back into this. But the issue is that they just keep not quite. It's like the target focus is not quite there, and they're separated in these fights just a little bit too much.
Yeah, maybe that's an issue with shot calling or just not being sure like who's the most important target to focus on. They aren't quite like committing to kills.
Seth might be a little bit too far in there. He ults him and he gets a nice stun off and W with full grit, but he is going to pay for it. Morgana hits him with the Soul Shackles and the Zanya's, but she just dies for it as well because there's no more follow-up.
I think that if he'd aimed the Haymaker the other way, he would have killed at least one person.
Oh, Cinder does come around behind and get a kill, but once again, she dies as well. It's a case of, like, is it worth it? You just, like, used your ultimate, or your, not your ultimate, but you just came around behind and sacrificed yourself for this support.
Yeah, there's no objectives up to take, so it's not a huge loss, but it does get... I'm actually not sure Cinder had a bounty there. But they could have potentially lost mid turret. They don't because Tristana's wave clear is quite good at this point in the game. But DeChelsea has actually done a really good job of coming back from a rough start. He's now 10-7 on Anarchy, working on what I assume is Twin Shadows. He will have the full Glacial build. He's got Banshees to give him some defense against Creek. I think he's going to need another damage item afterward. I think he'd like Rabadon, but I think he needs Morello because with the set healing, Tristana probably has Bloodline. Let me check.
Well, and Rost has some.
Yeah, Rost is the big thing. Rost is why you really want it here.
And I think Rost is maybe going for a.
That's a Death Dance.
Death Dance, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty standard for Rost because Death Dance, Warrior, Cleaver gives you full CDR. Sometimes you'll go Spirit Visage instead of Death Dance if you're a little behind, but that's pretty standard for Rost. They just kind of resort to pushing the mid lane back and forth. The Baron has fallen off for Broken Arbor, so they no longer have that pushing advantage. Baron has respawned.
Looks like Broken Arbor wants to start a fight here. Wukong comes around from the back. He does get stunned. Oh, and then Morgana Binding lands on Jarvan while he's EQing. And the Nami wave splits the difference there as they Anarchy Purple just separates around. And that's a lot of well, I guess it's not actually a lot of abilities.
Yeah, I think that's okay for Broken. For Broken Arbor, yeah, they get the teleport from Set.
Oh, and here comes the combination. Wukong ult and Jarvan ult together, but they don't have enough damage to follow up to get the kills. It's a tragedy here. They are able to get Set as he dives under the turret, but that's 2 dead in what was an excellent combo. If they were ahead, you can imagine that was probably immediately 3 dead on the other side of the team.
Ross gets the double knockup, heals a ton, uses the ult to dodge some of the damage. Shadow Claws ults through the Jarvan ult to get into the back line, and the front line, such as it is for Broken Arbor, just explodes. Like, Jarvan's starting to build some health, but he doesn't have any armor. He wants Spirit Visage second, which, sure, the Cinder hurts a lot, but you've also got a Rost, a Set, and a Tristana. And the Tristana's 8-3. Like, you need armor, man.
Yeah, it's a rough situation. I think Deadman's would have been a good buy here.
I think he has to go Thornhill here, though, because of the end deal.
Yeah, I think you just ignore the Black Cleaver almost and just say Deadman's and Thornmail and Spirit Visage.
Jarvan's here. They could look for a steal over the wall, but I don't think they should be wrapping around here.
Oh, here comes the Nami ult, but the Syndra E is devastating. He denies everything. Jarvan dumps into the backline, but he is not able to do enough. Tristana jumps in for the Goomba Stomp and then jumps out. They are back onto the dragon, looking for a 31-minute Elder Dragon, but it is not free as they're getting poked off and their health bars are rather low. Ahri is trying to finish off Set here and hoping that they can steal away this dragon, but they're not able to. And there's the execute. That is probably going to be it. Oh no, but Nami and Ahri together are able to execute the Tristana, and that's a lot of the turret pushing power down, but the minions are already at the Nexus towers, and they have Elder Dragon.
Yeah, the front line again just gets exploded, and they do get a trade kill when Shuriman overextends, bites off a bit more than he can chew there, but I think that it's probably within Anarchy Purple's. No, it looks like they're Mage shoots back off. Yeah, they're okay. They're gonna back out.
Looks like the respawn timer's favoring Broken Arbut here.
But they still have Elder. I think they can press ahead to the end.
Yeah, Set is really strong, and he's got his ult still. Oh, yep. He's able to get the Ahri, and I think that's gonna be the difference maker there. He will fall. Wukong is doing a lot of damage. I think Wukong is actually going for a Triforce now.
Yeah, Triforce is pretty common on new Wukong.
I like it, but I think he would have already had it for that fight if he didn't go for the Duskblade. And
yeah, 100%.
A lot nicer for his survivability, and really his damage would not suffer very much.
I would have liked to see like Titanic Hydra, like Tiamat into Triforce, into Titanic Hydra, into maybe Sterox, or just an armor item at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I think that this is the point where you start talking about, okay, what do we do next game? And maybe ban the Syndra, but I think Mr. Fisheye and Finzel need to be tankier. Like, that is, I think, the big thing that to take away from there. Mr. Fisheye they don't have to switch their champions, but they need tankier builds, because there's just no front line for Broken Arbut.
Yeah.
They're going for the Baron here, which...
Yeah, Anarchy Purple starting to Baron up, and it doesn't look like they're going to have any contest on it either. Arya's going to check it, but by the time she does, it's already gone.
They have both of the Uber buffs, though. The Elder, I think, is going to fall off pretty quickly here. The first Elder doesn't last very long. So it looks like they're 4-1ing with, they're going to send Set into the bot lane, which I think is good because there's not really anyone on Broken Arbut who can 1v1 him. And as we've seen, even with 3v1, they'll kill him, but it'll take a while.
Yeah,
and so
he's at the point where even against Wukong, he's going to survive so long. Maybe if Wukong had like a Blade of the Ruin King or something, then that would be like the Set anti-Set item, to have.
Yeah.
But
and it looks like Wu's going for Death Dance.
Yeah, he would have so much less impact in fights if he did that. I think the Death Stance is a good follow-up to the Triforce, but Nami hit with an E, a QE looks like from Syndra, and just a W from Kane, and he is gone.
And she's got a little bit of MR notably, but not enough.
Jarvan ults to set up the Wukong, but unfortunately Ashe was not there for the follow-up damage, so they just did not have enough there, and so they're not able to get anything. Actually, Set just runs up to the Nexus and is punching that down. So
yeah, Shadow Claws is just ending the game. All right, game 1 to Anarchy Purple. They continue their streak. I think that there were some good points for Broken R Button. The Chills had a really good comeback. I think that
Yeah, Broken R Button definitely put up a good fight in this one, but in the end, it just felt like they were the setup or for a lot of these objectives and a lot of these fights was just in the favor of Anarchy Purple, and it felt like from pretty early on, other than the top lane, um, that the advantages across the map were on Anarchy Purple's side. The Wukong was a really nice bright spot for Broken R Button, and then later on, like you were saying, the Ari really made a comeback in this game and became very useful in making a lot of these picks. But at the end of the day, at that point, the item differential was huge in these team fights, where like the Morgana Black Shield blocking a key ability, or Set, just diving into the backline and soaking up so much damage. It just made it so difficult for Broken R Button to take anyone down quickly enough to win these team fights when the carries of the other side were still active.
All right, and with that, I think we're going to take a short break, and we will be back for our last game of the day, match 2 of Broken R Button versus Anarchy Purple. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final match of the day. I am TTU Phoenix here with my co-caster Soul Reaver, and we are bringing you the second match between Broken R Button and Anarchy. Anarchy Purple had a pretty commanding performance in Game 1 to take the win, but Broken R Button are looking to try to knock them off their throne a little bit and get another win for themselves. So on the side of Anarchy Purple, we have Shadow Claws on the top lane Set, respective Bigfoot on the Kayn jungle, Creek on Orianna, Shuriman on Turistana, and Germproof on Thresh. And on the side of Broken R Button, we have Kale in the top lane, Trundle jungle for Finzel, Shadow 2097 on, the Vel'Koz, which I believe is a substitution. I think their mid laner was not available for the second round, or possibly it was a substitution in the first round. I'm not certain. But either way, they have Vel'Koz mid this game, Ocean's Andrew in bot on the Kai'Sa, and Extra Ho on the Nami support.
Yeah, that's the Shadow is the sub. I think Dachu is the normal mid laner.
Okay, I think I remember seeing the sub request. So I like the Trundle. One of my things from game one is I felt that Broken R button needed better frontline, and Trundle jungle is usually primarily a frontliner. He built Cinderhulk into full tank. His job is to steal stats. What I find interesting is that most of the picks for Anarchy Purple got back. The Set, the Kayn, and the Tristana are all repeats. They did ban out, I would guess, the Syndra because Creek had a very strong performance on it, and they're like, we don't want to deal with it, so Creek is going to be on the Orianna this game.
Yeah, it's interesting though because it feels like kind of a plug-and-play composition that Anarchy Purple has put together, where they have a tier list of, okay, these are the champions that we want, and if we don't get those champions, then these are their substitutes. And in this case, well, they didn't get Syndra, so they take another mage with good team fight and good CC
and good scaling. So
yeah, and then in the bot lane, it's like, well, here's another multifaceted support who can assist in defensive measures with in Morgana it's the Black Shield, with Thresh it's the Lantern, or offensively with the Hook or the Binding.
Yeah, and even though Thresh is more of a frontline than Morgana, they still play in some ways rather similarly. They're very pick-oriented champs. They have utility to protect their team. They have a CC combo that's effective, but a little unreliable. So I'm ready to get started with this one.
Yep.
Masagi!
So looking at runes and masteries, it all looks pretty standard. Ocean's Andrew is running the Halo of Blades Kaisa, which has been rising in popularity. Kaisa's lane phase is a little soft, and Halo of Blades, it doesn't give you the DPS of, say, lethal tempo or press the attack, but it gives you more upfront damage and helps you get to one passive trade quicker. Looks like they're posturing for an invader on Anarchy Purple side. They may be spotted out, yes. Finzel is going to retreat because he doesn't want to walk into 5 members of Anarchy Purple.
Yeah, it's good early ward there on the Pixel Brush. Leads Anarchy Purple to just vainly hope for someone to walk into that bush, but it keeps them safe, as I don't think Broken R Button wants to take an early fight against this team.
No, so they do have the advantage in jungle. Trundle is a very strong early jungler. His ability to just slap you to death in the early game is quite good, but Vel'Koz, I would say, is a pretty consistent mage. He scales well, but I wouldn't say that he really spikes at any particular point. He just has very consistent damage, excellent wave clear.
Looks like they were trying to work their way over to the enemy blue as theirs was getting stolen, but they get spotted out on the way there, so they might not be able to take it. Yeah, Trundle's going to back off to his own blue buff, and unless he goes straight back for that blue, he's going to get 3-buffed.
Yeah, which is definitely unfortunate on this Kayn, which is a scaling pick. Like, Kayn should be the weaker top lane, the weaker jungler early, but right now he's getting an easier setup, and I'm guessing he's going to go for... No, he's going directly to his blue buff to make sure that he doesn't lose it.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. If you think the enemy is going to try to trade, and it looks like Trundle is, but he's going to need his Orianna to come help him out, or the Set to come help him out, because the 1v1 is definitely going to go in the favor of the Trundle.
Trundle does not have pillar, notably, so he doesn't really have any way to keep Kayn in place and try to, like, fight him, but he's got the damage.
Is coming, but KL is behind, so Kayn... Oof. Kayn does get the blue buff with the smite, and Trundle is in a bad spot. First blood was set.
First blood over to Shadow Cross, who does pick up the red buff, but they're going to make Mr. Fisheye life really unpleasant.
Yeah, and he's getting chased down a little bit here too. He really needs to start running for the hills, because... yeah, that might have been enough to kill him if he didn't flash that W.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been exactly, because Haymaker at this point could only do 180 damage, but...
Yeah, if he walks in and takes a couple more autos though. He's risking it. He's walking up pretty close. I guess he does know that the thing is out. Oh, but he just flashes for the auto finish. Doesn't even risk trying to hit the W, which may not have been up yet.
Yeah, and you never want to deal with this. Like, as a melee against a Kale, interesting play by Germproof. I think he's mostly trying to psychologically zone them off the way, which does work.
Yeah, you know, I think it's something of miscommunication there because Kane was up on the top side clearing the scuttle, and he's seen just a few seconds later that I would be surprised if they didn't see him slightly before that while he was taking it, because he doesn't have CC to keep it away from that vision in that bush.
True. So Shadow Claws has once again gone for the full boots. He did that last game with the full Ninja Tabby, but I don't think this is as good here for a couple of reasons. One, Kale CC is mainly slows, which Mercury's Treads doesn't really help against. It reduces the duration of the slow, but not the intensity. The extra movement speed will help catch up to her, but as a melee into Kale, you really want to be bullying her as hard as you can, and not having damage makes it harder for you to really pressure her out of lane.
Yeah. I think almost getting Swifties would have been better here, because you look at it and it's like you've got 3 slows on the top side of the map to deal with, and Swifties are going to help you out with that.
Or Ninja Tabby, because...
Wow. It's a pretty clean play there. The Nami bubble does a lot, but it is not enough. The flash flay with the lantern of the Kane directly in really made a difference there.
Yeah, Germproof is clearly very comfortable on this Thresh, making the plays there to get that kill. It looks like the bomb actually took out Ocean's Andrew. My guess is it was probably close to full stacks, and the press the attack damage meant that it did claim the kill.
Yeah, not much more you can do about that as Ocean's Andrew. He reacted as fast as you could to that. But it's just not quite enough.
Yeah, notably, also Ocean's Andrew has gone for the Tear of the Goddess, which is very much a scaling pick. Like, he's not in a position to really control the lane here. Tristana's going to come back with a BF sword, and Ocean's Andrew notably has no damage at this point. So he's not really looking to fight, he's just looking to try to survive on the scale. Scaling does seem to be the name of the game, because except for the jungle, the early game advantages in most lanes are probably on the side of Anarchy Purple.
Yeah, a highlight for Broken R button here is the fact that the Kale, despite everything, is managed to stay even in farm up here and slightly ahead in experience. As you saw, he hit 6 first. So if he's able to continue to scale, then that Kale is going to be really difficult to deal with late game.
And the issue with
get there.
Yeah, the issue with Kale also is that so Germproof keeps doing that. He keeps just throwing the lantern into the tri-bush and walking up, and Ocean and Andrew and Extro have to back up every time, respecting the chance that it could be respected Bigfoot being lanterned in, or even Creek being lanterned in, which forces them back to lose experience and potentially gold.
Yeah, I think really their only counterplay to this would be to get some deep wards into the jungle to find out where Kane is, but wow, that is enough to kill the Nami, as once again the bomb finishes another one off, and Tristan is getting a good lead off of the play of this Thresh here.
Yeah, Shuriman and Germproof, I don't know, there's the landing. So Shuriman and Germproof, I don't know if they've played together before, but they definitely seem to have good synergy and be comfortable working together, knowing when to go aggressive, when to be passive.
Yeah, it's one of those things where bot lane, especially at the moment, with the way that at this early stage of the game, is so much controlled by the supports. And when you have an aggressive support like a Thresh versus a Nami, whose CC is good and long, but difficult to hit and slow to land, it just makes it really difficult for the Kaisa and the Nami side.
He's coming in for a roam, but
oh, bit unfortunate there. Kane was there for the counter. I think they must have seen him coming up the river and just waited for him in the bush there.
There's a control ward in the river pixel brush, so that's probably where they saw him. And to be honest, as Vel'Koz, I don't really think of Vel'Koz as a roaming champion. I love Vel'Koz, but he strikes me more as an AFK wave push champion.
Yeah.
Especially against an Ori, like, Kaale's doing okay at this point. She doesn't really need roams. She's even on CS with the set. Like, she just wants to be left alone the last hit.
Yeah, an interesting thing is that Vel'Koz is actually leveling his Q. He's got 4 points in Q. I think the build, as far as I know at this point, is 3 points in W and then Q max, because the W gives you so much wave clear. Once you have 3 points in it and an item, and you pretty much one-shot the wave with your E and your W combination.
Yeah, I even maxed the W for
Oh, and looks like Nami is gone for this world. She actually does flash out, and oh, it's nearly enough. Soaks the flash and 2 flashes and an ignite, so not a total loss, but just a bit of a greedy back there. That far.
Yeah, you didn't need to back that far up. And now Thresh looking to roam, get some deep wards in the jungle. He's gonna run into the Trundle here, who is level 6.
Has to flash the hook. Oh, but that Orianna ult is huge, and that is 2 kills to the Orianna as well, and that is very bad for the side of Broken R, but as that was one champion you did not want to get fed.
Yeah, and one of the issues here is that the Trundle is very much an early game champion, but after that first kill, he's basically just been farming his jungle. He doesn't really have lanes to gank. Like, Vel'Koz is not really worth ganking, he's doing fine. Mr. Fishai is hard to gank for, bot lane is in trouble. But if you're gonna draft this...
As Pyke is on bot lane, Nami gets ulted out actually, and then Kaisa is finished off and they just saved Nami for later. Almost the Goomba Stomp there at the end, but doesn't quite get it. As this bot lane is really just getting out of control.
Yeah, this is a 5-0 Tristana. She should have enough for Stormrazor if that's her first item. She's got the double dagger, which I would guess is for Stormrazor and Berserk.
Yeah, they're gonna grab this dragon, I guess, and then probably back from there. Earlier, the Rift Herald was also dropped in mid lane, but looks like besides this, the Trundle is making a gank on top lane. Set might be in a little bit of an awkward spot. He's gonna ult the Trundle and try to get away that way. He's been ulted, and he's taking decent damage, but he trades a lot back with that W. Flash out of the Orianna, and the Vel'Koz ult mid nearly gets the kill.
It looked like she was trying to TP top, but Vel'Koz interrupted her with a tectonic disruption and was like, well, I already got the combo, might as well try to ult. And almost does claim the kill, only the shield saves her.
Yeah, it's nearly enough, and that was immediately after Orianna just teleported back to lane as well. So that's good timing there. Vel'Koz will just walk out of this and be okay. Set needs to be careful. He's getting chased down a little bit. That I believe this is going to be a Hextech Gunblade first item for Mr. Fishy, and he's already got the Cutlass, and that's doing some damage.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common. The first item for kill is usually either Mana Immune if she needs the wave clear and mana sustain, or Hextech Gunblade if she feels she's under threat and wants the lifesteal. So he doesn't quite have it yet, but he's got both components. He's got a dagger, so it'll probably be a Gwynsu's afterwards.
Yep, and once again, it's the Death Stance for Set first, and he's got 2 components for that as well. So they're actually in a pretty even spot.
Yeah.
Set has about 1,000 more gold thanks to his kills. As the flash hook comes in from Thresh, he doesn't land the flay, but that is okay. Tristana is able to get the kill anyway, but Vel'Koz and Trundle are here, and that's probably going to be at least Thresh going down for this. As although Set teleported in and Orion is broke down and hits the ult onto both of them to clean them up. And
that's just a solid cleanup for the side of Anarchy Purple. I feel like Anarchy Purple has such good collapse and such good coordination, and that's what makes them so strong. It's like the instant that I feel like another team would have just let the Thresh die. The Tristana's out, the carry with all the bounty is out. You're like, all right, look, Germ Fruit, just buy time, sacrifice yourself, we'll call it good. But they have Creek roam down, they have Shadow Claws teleport in, and they get another kill, 2 kills afterwards. And will now claim most of this turret plating gold, as well as first turret in mid.
yeah, the Rift Herald mid earlier really puts a hurt on that turret, so it was weakened up. And then once the attention was drawn bot lane, and that turret just went down, it gave Anarchy Purple a chance to get 2 turrets off of that extended play.
Yeah, so the gold lead is now wide. It's massive. It's 9,000 gold lead at 14 minutes. Like, this is huge. Realistically, the hope, it's 14-0. The hope now for Broken R button is scaling. Because Vel'Koz, I'd say, scales about as well as Orianna does, and Kayle does scale very well. You're essentially just trying to stall out and have those 2 late game carries, plus the Kai'Sa, who is also a good scaler, carry you through the team fights. I don't like the dagger on Trundle, because that means he's going for Sweep 4, or Blood Razor, or Berserker's Greaves, none of which he should be building. He needs to be building Cinderhulk, he needs to be building Titanic Hydra, he needs to just be becoming a tank, because they don't have another tank. Kayle, not a frontliner.
His goal should be just to be an ult bot for Sylas or Kayle. I mean, for Kayn. Because either one of those are the only ones who are going to have a big enough health pool to bother ulting.
Thresh wouldn't be bad for the resist, because Thresh should have a good amount of resist.
He will get a good amount of armor.
He should just look to basically ult a frontliner, and then his job is just to be annoying with the pillar, and just buy as much time as he can to frontline to allow his DPS to do their job. His job here is not to be a damage dealer. And that's something that can be hard to learn, but when you're going to play a tank, and in my opinion, this is one of the advantages of jungle, is that because the jungle pool is so versatile, it gives you the opportunity to play whatever your team needs. You can be a tank, you can be an assassin, you can be a diver, you can even be a support with Ivern.
Oh, as Trundle gets 1v1 by the Set in his own jungle, ulted over the wall there at the end, or ulted after he flashes over the wall, just could not get away. And really, that's one of those things where it's like, maybe, you know, building more damage there is not going to help you a whole lot. All he's got now is one more dagger.
Yeah, he did get the ninja tattoo,
yeah.
but...
And as Dragon is spawning, they did collect the second Rift Herald though, and that is going for the mid lane, I think, to distract from the spawning of this dragon. They really want to stack these dragons quickly.
Using Rift Herald to secure Dragon can be a very effective tool, because you have to answer Rift Herald because of how much damage it can do to turrets. So it means that one person is not going to be at the Dragon fight. They're going to claim the scuttle.
Yep. As it turns out, Vel'Koz saves it, or by, I guess, his wave clear just being strong enough with his ult. Kayn decides not to drop it, and they have...
No, Kayn did drop it. No, he didn't drop it. You're right. He did drop it.
Yeah, they had enough control that he didn't feel like he needed to, but Tristana jumps into the backline to assassinate Vel'Koz. The Kayle ult saves him for such a long time that that's 1,000 gold shutdown, but unfortunately goes to the Nami. Kayle is here and is doing some serious damage. But
yeah, you really would have liked that to go on with the Kai'Sa or the Kayle if you could.
Yeah, I think it's the Kayle win condition right now, and they really need to play around that. He's played this pretty well, and he showed up in that fight at a great time, but now he needs to go top and defend against what the Set is doing.
Yeah, Set's just kind of split pushing. They don't really have a good answer to him. Mr. Fisheye is not yet strong enough to really 1v1 the Set. You can maybe keep him off of the tower, but...
Yeah, he has the wave clear to be safe. And once his ultimate is up, he definitely can survive a really long time and maybe even threaten the set. But it's not something where you want to take that 1v1.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what Seth's going to go for next. He's got 2,000 gold. He went directly for Deadman's last game. And given that they like Shadow Claws, it seems they like Shadow Claws just be kind of a distraction and a big old frontliner, as opposed to as much of the direct damage threat. I wouldn't be surprised if he did the same thing again. Or maybe went for like a Spirit Visage.
Yeah, I think the Spirit Massage would be a good choice because you're dealing with Vel'Koz and Kale, and well, and Kaisa as well, really, all doing some AP damage. As Thresh lands up on the wall and follows it, drops the lantern behind him, but it might be a bit of a trap as Vel'Koz just destroys the Tristana. Hextech Run that dropped on the Thresh as he flashes away and then lands the hook and goes back in. But he gets cleaned up for his trouble. Kane gets a double kill in the backline though, as Set is ulting the Kale back into the fight, and looks like he's going to try to clean it up, but Trundle is there and might be able to take him out with the ult.
It's the battle of healing. I think Trundle's coming out ahead.
Yeah, Trundle really is, and the minion is there as well. Set is doing his best. I think once the ult wears off, though, it's going to be really close. I think the Nami and the minions made the difference as Trundle takes Set out.
Also consider the attack damage steal from Trundle's Chomp. Trundle gains 40 AD whenever he uses Chomp, and his opponent loses 20. And on an AD champ-like Set, that's a pretty significant amount to lose, particularly given that he only has one AP item and it doesn't have a lot of attack speed. So it's cutting his damage pretty significantly to lose that 20 AD there.
Yeah, that Chomp is on about a 4-second cooldown at this point, so it's definitely something he gets to use pretty frequently in those fights, just to keep that debuff/buff going.
So Kale's going for a Nasher's 2-second, which I think is pretty standard. Get some AP, get some attack speed, some CDR. The Riptail is summoned, but it looks like it won't get anything. My guess is it was just about to time out, and Respect to Bigfoot was like, I gotta drop it somewhere.
Yeah, it's typically better to just drop it in a lane than you know, accidentally have it go off in the jungle. That's a little embarrassing.
Yeah. Though to be fair, dropping it in like your base or in the jungle can be interesting because it's not immediately clear where it's going to go, and it can force your opponent to scramble a bit while they try to figure out where to go.
Yeah, Thresh here might be caught. He gets hit by the knockup and loses about half his HP, but it is not enough for a pick, as I think Vel'Koz had already used his whole combo except for his ult, and he didn't want to use it on just one target.
Yeah. He does take a lot of damage though. Kale's coming in here.
Oh, maximum little range there, and that's almost going to be enough. It forces the heal out of Tristana to save the Thresh. I don't know if it's worth it, especially not if Kale ends up falling here, but I think she will get out.
Mr. Fisha, though, did almost go down to the Tristana bomb. It was very close. And with them forced out, Anarchy Purple Artemis starts Baron. Trundle's not even here. He's heading for Dragon, but given how long it'll take Dragon to spawn, I think they could probably do the and then rotate down to the Dragon and be there in time to have a decent chance to contest.
Yeah, and I think this is such a sneaky play. I think that because of the way the fight went, I think that Broken Heart just had no idea that Anarchy Purple even wanted to take the Baron there.
And if you look at the vision line for Anarchy Purple, they knew completely where Broken Heart Button was. Broken Heart Button will get the Dragon here. They need to bail out, though.
Yeah, they don't want to take this fight. It might be okay if they can get into the jungle and land some good ults, as Vel'Koz has been putting some decent poke down, but it is not really a time where they want to fight with the Baron buff. They might as well just wait under their inhibitor turret and try to get somebody overreaching.
Yep, and that's good for them. They get the Infernal, which gives more damage to their scaling picks. We already talked about how important it is that they get that scaling.
Oh, Trundle gets caught by the hook though, and that might be too much. Nami goes down. Set and Thresh are down quickly though from Vel'Koz, but Tristana is cleaning up the backline. Trundle is working on chasing Orianna down and may be able to get it, but no, I think that Tristana or Orianna should be able to get away. Tristana jumping on the turret, so it's going to trade herself as for 2 kills there. And I think Orianna, yes, Orianna does end up getting the Trundle, as Trundle just could not get close enough through all of that.
The tower will go down to the minions there, so I think that's overall not bad for the side of Broken Arbor. They lose 5-4, and they do give over some kills, but they pick up a few shutdowns, and they've killed the Baron off of everybody that's not named Orianna. And
Yeah.
so she still has it. I can't tell how long it is until it times out, but that is going to stall the push. And only losing a tier 2 tower for an early Baron is not that terrible. I do like this. Finzel, he did go with the Blood Razor, but he's now building. He's working on the Dead Man's Place, excuse me. Probably should have a Spirit Visage afterwards to deal with Creek's Orianna. But he is building frontline because he's like, I'm the only frontline we have. I need to be tanky. And so he's working on that health and armor.
And I can understand why he went with the Blood Razor. If you're in solo queue and you're up against a Set or a Kayn, Blood Razor is great against those 2 champions. And Trundle with Blood is one of the few champions now that like still builds Blood Razor and does something with it. As Orianna almost gets Vel'Koz there. The ult takes about half his health, but it looked like Vel'Koz was able to get out of some of the damage.
Yeah, Kayla barely escapes there. If she'd been caught by that hook or by that knockup from Kayn, she would have almost certainly been dead, or at least forced to burn her ult.
Yeah, it looks like they might be considering forcing this turret down, but they're gonna have to do it through Kael's wave clear. Ooh, Tristana just standing right around the corner as Nami comes around. As Trundle's trying to make a trade here, Kai'Sa ults in, and they're not quite able to finish off the Orianna. Kai'Sa gets ulted in by the Set, and taken out by the Orianna. Tristana gets the reset and is going to chase down Vel'Koz most likely. Kael just arrives to the fight, but it's too little too late, and is probably going to get chased down. Flashes away and uses the ult really early. I think you might have saved that and traded your life for the Tristana, but it's just not quite enough. There's no real good choice there.
Yeah. Kayle does have her Nashor's Tooth, so when she comes back she'll be relatively strong, but Anarchy Purple again, they're just marching down lanes, looking for turrets, looking for fights, try to pick people off here. They should get this tower. And I don't think Finzel should be trying to contest this. Like,
No,
yeah,
I think if you're there, just try to get the minions. Tristana trades herself for
Nami, which is not a good trade, and it is a shutdown to the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and didn't end up getting the tower either. She was working on that inhibitor tower, and I think she should have just stayed on that. That would have been a much more worthy option, but they are pulling off now, and I think they're probably going to reset and get set up for Dragon, and that's going to be Infernal Soul. Oh, Vel'Koz gets caught out, though. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, you should not be trying to blind check that Vel'Koz. He's got the blue trinket, but like you can't walk in there blind because that quarter is a common one before.
Yeah, and it's not. It wasn't urgent enough to be running in without help at that point. It was still 25 seconds until the dragon was spawning. So that's a situation where you just want to wait for your team, but that might be miscommunication.
The good news is Shadow does have TP. Oh,
Set is ulting him in. He's got the Kayle. The Kayle needs to ult and is able to ult in time to save himself even through the Orianna ult. But the Tristana gets the bomb to go off and take out 2. That's a triple kill for the Tristana as she's trying to hunt down the Nami, but she goes the wrong way, and now she's coming back to the dragon. Nami has gotten behind the pit, and Set is chasing her down, but I think she will be able to get out. And
that will be Infernal Soul.
Set TP's top lane to try to get that turret down. I think you should have no problem there, as Vel'Koz is trying to defend the mid lane.
Yeah. He's trying to defend himself against the Tristana.
Oh, and he's doing a fine job of it. He gets the trade kill. Well done.
The Vel'Koz's lifeform disintegration rate goes a bit longer than it looks like it does, and that little bit of extra range just gets the kill on Shuriman. I think Shuriman is maybe feeling a bit overconfident from game one. He's had a few trades where he didn't need to go for that.
Oh, Nami has to flash away as she's nearly one-shot by the set. But Kale is chasing the set down. Trundle and Kaisa and Vel'Koz there are able to chase the Thresh down. So they're picking off these people one by one. They're getting pretty low doing it, and looks like Kane wants to kill somebody, but here comes the Kale from the side. Might be a little ill-advised. I don't think she's strong enough. Kane is just not taking damage.
Yeah, Ross healing is just insane at this point. There's no anti-heal on the side of Anarchy, of Broken Arbor, excuse me. There's an Oblivion Orb on Shadow, but Vel'Koz does not yet have the Morello. There's no other anti-heal. There's not even an Ignite, so they really don't have any way to try to control this Kane and put him in a situation where he is killable. Mr. Fisheye recognizing that their true hope is the Tandem power spike. Unfortunately, none of them are playing Yasuo here.
They are closing in though, and I think Vel'Koz should have enough for the. Yes, he does have Morellos now, so that should help him. But Baron just went down, and that is going to make things a little more difficult.
Broken Arbor here needed a team fight where essentially everyone gets hit by the Nami wave into like a perfect Vel'Koz combo.
Yeah, Vel'Koz.
Because I think that's really the only way they get enough damage.
Vel'Koz has really become the damage threat. Kale is doing a decent amount, but she has to get so close to do her damage, whereas Vel'Koz is so long ranged that he's able to hit his combo from so far away. And, you know, being Vel'Koz, true damage, he doesn't care about what stats you have.
And that's one of the advantages of Vel'Koz is he's not as tied to penetration like Void Staff or you know, Morello Namkan. In this case, he did build Morello, but he doesn't need penetration as much as other mages because of how much true damage he has. So he can kind of get away with raw AP or can afford to itemize into more defense. And he is going here for the Zhonya's Hourglass, which, I mean, he's just trying not to die.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a definitely an admirable goal against this.
The key to living forever? Team. Not dying.
There you go. But he's doing a decent job landing. Thresh flashes in though, gets the play, and Nami is just destroyed instantly. A little anti-synergy there. It doesn't matter though. Said ulting Vel'Koz out of the Oriole doesn't matter, as Kane 1v1s the Trundle in the bot lane, and the others are wiped in a
and Anarchy Purple should just be cleaning this up. Two very dominant wins out of the Anarchy team, so I'm excited to see more of them in the playoffs because they look like the team to beat in Demacian right now.
Yeah, very clean play. You can tell that they have good communication. They have vision control around objectives before they take them. They're following each other up on these ganks and these counter ganks. When the mid lane roams, they roam right behind him, or you know the jungler's already there. They just kind of read their opponent like a book today, and a lot of that is I think shows in. I think these guys have a coach, and that sort of thing can help out a lot when you have a third party looking in and telling you like, hey, you know, it's a good idea. Like, you know, get your wards here, buy pink wards. All these reminders that we need, especially when we're low elo players.
Yep. So who would you select for MVP and Ace? My choices would be Ace. I would say the Kale. I think Mr. Fisheye, despite a rough start, really did a good job stabilizing the lane and did his best to bring that carry potential that Kale is known for and that his team kind of needed. I think MVP. I'm gonna have to go with a Thresh because the fake out psychological games with the lantern, the flash plays, the hooks. So many kills were set up because of the Thresh play that I think he was the star of this game for Anarchy Purple.
Yeah, I think the only argument really is like, was Vel'Koz later in the game more valuable than Kale? Early on, Vel'Koz really didn't do anything, and I think he lost some opportunities to be more impactful by trying to roam. Whereas Kale held on so well in top lane um, that I think I can agree with that. That for Kale for the ace, and I love the Thresh for MVP in this. Sure, Tristana ended up with 20 kills, but how many of those would she have gotten if she wasn't, 10 kills at 15 minutes or whatever that she ended up being? And that was thanks to the Thresh. He faked that lantern play, what, 3 or 4 times in a row?
At least four
Before
times.
it was before it was even the real one. And then in that situation, he threw it, and then as soon as it was grabbed, he flash flayed, so they never even had a chance, and it brought Kane all the way to where he flashed to. Just excellent play there, and really gave them no chance to get away.
Yep, so it's pretty late, at least where I am, so I think we're going to wrap the stream up, and we will hopefully see everyone back here next weekend for more matches.